Here's how I plan to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. As a disclaimer, I'm going to be talking about weight and weight loss in this video, and if you find that to be triggering, please feel free to skip this video. I also want to preface that the fact that the weight that I'm at, if you are at this weight and higher and feel good in your body, this video is not to tell you that you need to lose weight. I think everyone is entitled to know what weight and what size makes them happy, and it's about the way that you feel. And for me, it's really honestly a challenge to myself that I want to be in the best shape of my life in my late 30s. So I'm going to be turning 38 this summer, and I've told myself that I'm going to look and feel better at 38 than I ever have. So guys, welcome back to Ikram Aligned. In this video, I'm going to be taking you with me for my weight loss plan. Here is how I plan to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. And I'm going to take you guys along with me for the journey. But to start with, I'm going to have a little bit of why I'm doing this now. And also I'll have all the timestamps up somewhere on this video for you guys to skip ahead if you're not interested in the story and the why and you just want to go to the plan and follow along. That's great. I'll see you there. So if you saw my other video, how to successfully rebrand in 2025, you would see there that one of my goals for 2025 is to lose 12 pounds. And I want to do this in the first 12 weeks. So by the end of March, I would like to lose 12 to, honestly, ideally 12 to 15 pounds by then. And it's a thing that I have really struggled to get below a certain weight in the last, I'd say 7 to 8 years. Like ever since I turned 30, I haven't been able to go below 130 pounds. It has been a struggle, but I also know it has to do a lot with my lifestyle. I used to live in Europe and abroad for almost 9-10 years. And while I lived there, I walked everywhere. I had a bike. I ate a lot of fruits and vegetables in my diet, and there wasn't a lot of processed food. And the thing about Europe, which really surprised me, was the fact that not a lot of people actually order like takeout. They will go and pick it up. So they don't have it delivered. And my roommates on Sundays, when I would have pizza or whatever it is that I was ordering delivered to the house, they just give me these weird looks like, why don't you go and pick it up? And in my mind, I'm like, the whole point of delivery is to have, someone go and bring it to you. But like everything was walking distance, especially where I lived. The last few years there, I was living in a small town. So I honestly could have walked 5 to 10 minutes to go and grab it. But I just wanted the convenience, and it wasn't something that I did often. And so I thought it was fine. It was like a really big culture shock that I was like, oh, okay, so this must be something more common in North America. And since moving back home, I've been eating lots of takeout, lots of delivery, lots of processed food. Last year, I actually cut out all processed food from my diet and most of the refined sugar out of my diet. And then in June, I went on the autoimmune protocol, so AIP diet, which really was to figure out what was causing me inflammation and what my food sensitivities were, which was fantastic because I discovered there are a lot of healthy foods or foods that I thought were healthy, just that did not suit my body. For example, like oats, I can't have certain types of beans like chickpeas and kidney beans. They really inflame me and I'm in so much pain when I eat them. So those are things that even though they're relatively healthy, it's just not something for me. Same thing with nuts. So like almonds and peanuts, they break me out. I can have things like pistachios and walnuts, thank God. If I want to have some almond butter, I just have to be prepared to have a major breakout. That's going to happen, and it's really painful, and it's the same type of breakout or similar to the type of breakout I get when I have dairy. I've always been lactose intolerant, but I, like many people, or maybe not like many people, I love cheese and I love pizza, so I will occasionally still have that. Just by changing my eating habits, and I started walking more, so I work from home, which means I live a very sedentary lifestyle. And 2 months ago, I finally invested in a walking pad, and I'm going to share my Fitbit, just the results, to show you how much it's impacted me. Like, I thought I was close to 5,000-6,000 steps like a day, but really I'd have some really good days where I was walking 7,000, and then the next day I would have like 1,000, and then it would go up and down. And so I was averaging really 3,000 to 4,000 steps. And since getting my walking pad, I average around 8,000 to 9,000 steps a day. Sometimes I do more. I have days where if I'm sick or I'm just working too much, then my steps won't be as much. But really, one of the best investments was getting a walking pad. It gets to -30 where I'm living, so it's just not feasible to be walking, and after work it's pitch black. So walking pad was a great investment, and I'll go into it later how that's gonna impact or how that's gonna play a part in this weight loss journey that I'm going through. Honestly, it's something that is a personal preference. I want to look lean, and the women that inspire me, like when I'm 70 and 80, I want to look like this woman, and I'm going to post it somewhere here on this video. She is, I think, 72 or 73. She's a vegan chef, and that's how I want to look like in my 70s and 80s. And I think in order to look like that in my 70s and 80s, I want to start having these healthy habits now. So really, I'm seeing this entire journey as part of a change in my identity and a change in how I show up for myself. It's a part of my self-care and self-love to myself, and to prove that I can do this. Growing up, I don't know about you guys, but I was always told, like, once you turn 30, no one's gonna want you. You're gonna be an old spinster. Like, your value as a woman diminishes as you age. And I truly believe that nothing diminishes your value. And I want you to hear me. Nothing diminishes your value unless you let them, unless you believe the lies that you're told. Nothing can diminish your value. And no matter what weight you are, how you look, you are valuable as you are. But as an individual, you also get to decide how you want to show up, how you want to feel, and how you want to present yourself. And this really is kind of like a love letter to myself, to be like, I showed up for myself in 2025, and I proved that I was able to do this. And that's really it, is that, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, is to look and feel my best as I get older. But I think previously I was focusing so much more on exercise. I really wasn't focusing enough on food. And that's what I'm going to be doing different this time, is I'm going to focus majority of this journey on my nutrition. And it's so easy for us to just be like, okay, I need to exercise more. But I find that when I exercise more, that especially with HIIT workouts and lots of cardio, I don't feel good. I end up actually gaining more weight than losing, because I end up eating just as much, or sometimes even more, to make up for all of that. So I'm not a health professional. If you decide to do or follow anything that I say in this video, please remember to consult your doctor and to consult a health or medical professional, okay? So I'm just basing this on some research that I've done, and really just experimenting and taking you guys along, because I think accountability is really important. It's very easy to just be like, oh, well, nobody knows, I'm just gonna quit. To me, this is my accountability video. Here is my weight loss plan for how I plan to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. Before I even started, last week I did a prep. And what I mean by that is I prepped my kitchen. I went and did a big shopping, like a big grocery haul, and bought food that would be in line with the goals that I want to reach. And I'm going to show you guys a video of some of the food that I bought. And as you'll see, there's lots of fruits and vegetables. There's lots of seafood, and I'm going to be, and that's kind of my main thing, is eating lots of fruits and vegetables. So here's my weight loss plan for the next 12 weeks that I intend on following. And I split it up into the do's and the don'ts. So the first thing is the do. In terms of do, I'm going to eat in a caloric deficit. In order to figure out what the caloric deficit I wanted to be in, I went and found this website. It's called TDEE. I think that's what it's called. I'll put it up somewhere here. And in there, I put my age, my weight, my height, and my lifestyle activity. And originally when I put it in and said that I have light activity, the amount that it said, it was like 1,200 calories a day, which I find is a little bit low. I am 5'2", so I get that. And then I changed it to if I do moderate exercise, and that was a little bit higher. That was around 1,400. And so, okay, so I was like, let me do something in the middle, which would be about 1,300. I also found this video of this woman that shows you how to calculate it just using a calculator. So you put in your ideal weight and then you times that by 10 or by 10 or 12. And so I did both. I times my ideal weight by 10 and then my ideal weight by 12. When I did that, it was like 1,100 and something, and then 1,300 and something. And so from this, I just decided just to stay, like, to do something moderate in the beginning, I'm going to do 1,300 and I will adjust from there. And I want you to know, like, it might be different for you. I'm barely 5'2". I'm 157 centimeters. And based on my lifestyle, like I said, I work from home. I'm quite sedentary, but I'm going to be doing a lot of steps, in which I've been kind of doing the last couple of months, of aiming to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps. So hopefully, if I find that it's not enough food, I will definitely increase my calories if I find that I'm constantly starving and going over. So this is just an experiment. I'm going to try this out. If I find that I'm losing weight and I feel good, there's a little bit of hunger. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of hunger anytime you're in a caloric deficit, but as long as I'm not like starving, right? So that is the first one for do. Then the next thing is the protein goals. And this is, I just took this from that TDEE and I went and took an average. So I'm going to aim between 90 grams of protein to 106 per day. I don't like protein powder. The only protein powder that I have at the moment is the hemp protein powder, because that doesn't bloat me and I'm not in as much pain. I've tried every kind of vegan protein powder, even the pea protein with only pea protein, and that my stomach just doesn't react well with me. So I'm going to be doing this with as little protein powder as possible and getting it from, eggs and certain types of fish and meat. Be doing a lot of steady state exercise, and so for me that's getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. I figured out a perfect routine for myself. I got my walking pad back in November, and so what I've been doing, and I'm just going to continue with this, is I wake up and I walk for 30 to 45 minutes in the morning, and then once I log off for my shift, I have dinner, and then I walk for another hour, or maybe a little bit longer or shorter depending on how I feel. But I am aiming for 10. If I don't get 10, it's okay. Honestly, I feel like 10 is quite an arbitrary number. The main thing is that I'm moving, and I have said that I want to do more than 8,000 per day. And I think that's a good start for me. And then the next do is the rebounder. So I got this, I want to say I got this back in May. Maybe it was back in May or June. I can't remember. But best decision ever. I watched this video. I'll post the video that really inspired me to get the walking pad. Apparently NASA has said how great rebounding is, and 10 minutes of day, like I've realized, and I don't know how it's possible, I'll jump on the rebounder for 10 minutes, and for whatever reason my Fitbit says that I get 20 minutes of zone 2. Not sure how that's calculated, but either way, it makes me feel good, and it's a really light form of exercise. I can feel my heart rate And so 10 minutes a day is what, and I use it more so for de-stressing. Honestly, if I've had a really difficult shift or if I'm feeling a little bit anxious that day, I'll even just jump on there for a few minutes before. I feel like a kid. I like anything, like as you'll see, this is a lot of gentle. Like we are not about hustling. I am not about being burnt out and just killing myself for the sake of weight loss. That's not happening here, because I want this to be sustainable and I want this to be a lifestyle change. And so you'll see very incremental things that I'm doing throughout this. I guess this goes without saying, eating more fruits and vegetables. So I am a volume eater, and to make up for the caloric deficit, I'm going to be increasing the amount of fruits and vegetables I'm eating. So that means I can have big plates of salads. I want to have either a soup or salad a day. Usually in the winter, I don't like smoothies. I don't like cold food. I want warm food, and so probably just a soup. If I feel like a salad, I will have it, but either a soup or a salad each day, just to kind of bulk up on the amount of vegetables I'm consuming during this time. So that is all that I have for do. And I think some of you might be wondering, what about exercise? We don't see any exercise. I want to do this first for the first like 4 to 6 weeks. And then if I feel like it throughout, obviously if I want to move and do some Pilates and strength training, I can, but I don't want it to be a non-negotiable, because I find that sometimes in the past I would focus on exercise and I would forget about the food. And honestly, 80 to 90% of weight loss is the food that you're consuming and what you're putting in. So eventually I will be introducing 2 to 3 times a week of strength training and weight training, but in the beginning, like I said, I want it to be small, gradual steps. I don't want to overwhelm myself also with all of the meal planning, all of the walking, everything that I'm doing. And then I want to be filming this and posting some of this on TikTok as well as on YouTube, so we don't want to burn out. Then, as you'll see, I have my don'ts list. So these are things that I will avoid to help me with this weight loss journey. So first is no processed food. I've been very, very good at this. I have barely had any processed food since June. I also cut out seed, like canola oils, vegetable oils. Most of those seed oils, I only use olive or avocado oil, and occasionally coconut, but even that I barely use. It's mainly avocado and olive oil that I use for cooking at the moment. And even butter is fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with butter, so I will be having butter too. The hardest thing, which I shouldn't even say that because it's all about mindset. The next thing, which will be very easy for me because I want to, that's the mindset that we're going to say, is no takeout. I've been getting better at this. I've gotten it down to 1 to twice a month of takeout. And so to make up for that, I'm going to be making my favorite takeout food. So if I feel like Korean chicken, I'm going to make it myself, and I'm going to make it in a way that's healthy. If I feel like ginger beef, I will make it. If I feel like wings, like whatever it is that I'm craving, I love sushi, I'm going to make myself sushi bowls. So I'm going to figure out ways to make it at home, and that will just make it easier, because usually when I get takeout, it's pizza and it's donair, it's poutine, it's food that I eat when I've been restricting all week, and then I just binge mindlessly while watching TV, and then an entire extra large pizza, which is probably for an entire family, is gone. And then I feel sick. And so we're not going to do that. If I want pizza, I can make it. And I find that when I make things at home, I tend to not eat as much because I'm not just eating my feelings. I can slow down and just no takeout. That's just something that doesn't work for me. For some people, they can have takeout and be mindful and not eat beyond their maintenance for that day. I don't know how to do that for now, and so we're just gonna cut out takeout until I build that healthy relationship with takeout, because I definitely don't have a healthy relationship with it at the moment. And then You'll see on the third one, I won't have any refined sugar. So don't have refined sugar is what it's meant to mean. It looks like it says have refined sugar, but don't have refined sugar. You know what's funny? I started my baking business about 1.5 years ago, and I shut it down like 1 year in, so last April, and mainly for health concerns and also the fact that it just wasn't aligned for me. I went to pastry school and I thought this is what I want to do, but most of the adults in my family, like most of the people over the age of 40, have type 2 diabetes, and I was seeing myself getting closer towards that. And I did some blood work, and that really terrified me. And I was like, I cannot continue to have a career that will impact me. And it made me feel sad that sometimes I would make desserts and I couldn't give it to my parents. And so I was like, why am I making food for people that is not healthy? I don't know. For other people, that's perfectly fine. I just am cutting out refined sugar, and I don't think, please hear me out, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a dessert here and there. I just think having it every single day, which was what I was doing, is definitely not sustainable if you want to live a healthy, long life and look youthful, which I want to do. So refined sugar is going to be out. I'm still going to make things like cinnamon buns, but I will make it with non-refined. So I'm going to have, like, I've made it this during the summer with like coconut sugar, and I found ways to like work around it and add less sugar to the baked goods that I make. And so I can still have dessert. Like we're not cutting out any type of food groups. I can have bread, I can have cake if I decide that that's what I want, as long as it's without any refined sugar. And a big one for me here is not to eat food to suppress emotions. We're going to say past tense, was someone that and I realize this, there's 2 things that I do to suppress emotions: binge with Netflix, Prime, Disney, what have you, and food. And it's usually, I found, I'm trying to suppress, or I'm not trying to feel something, and that's not something that I want to continue. So I will rather feel my emotions, and I will eat to sustain myself, not to kind of suppress an emotion. That's not something that I want to continue into 2025. The other one is eating when I'm hungry. I think sometimes that, at least the way I grew up, like if there was food on my plate, I always had to finish it. And I still do that as an adult, to the point where I don't even know when I'm full anymore. Like, usually, unfortunately, sometimes I eat way past my fullness, and later on I'm like, oh, I was full ages ago. Probably should have slowed down and not been distracted while I was eating. Sometimes I'm just eating just for the sake of it. So that's not something that we're going to be doing in these 12 weeks. I will eat when I'm hungry, and if I don't feel hungry, then I don't need to eat. So yeah, that is my plan for 2025 on how I plan to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. So that's a pound a week. We're hoping for, honestly, if it's even more, fantastic. If it's less, that's okay. The idea is that I am building on good habits to continue throughout the year. If you guys want to follow along and have some accountability and have accountability partners, please feel free to write in the comments what a goal is that you have. It could be any health or fitness goal. Doesn't have to be about losing weight. It could be about walking more, maybe exercising, maybe just cutting out carbonated and soft and like drinks with sugar. That could be it. Maybe you want to cut out coffee. I am not cutting out coffee as I did not mention it, but whatever it is, write it in the comments. Come back every 1 to 2 weeks and let's see how you're doing. And I want us to thrive. Like 2025 is the year that we thrive, that we do what's loving for us. Love you guys, and till next time, bye.